Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
OB, I don't really know how to categorize what we've seen from A&M to start the season because they've taken on a couple of teams that they should have no problem with, and they've had no problem with, but it hasn't been pretty. But if you look around college football, a lot of teams have kind of like not looked their best against inferior opponents.
That's true. I think wasn't the game deep in the third quarter with Louisiana? With Louisiana Tech and LSU, wasn't it somewhat close? Yep. And there's some others.
The Troy-Clemson game.
Yeah, there's some others, but we were talking before the show. I think so far what we've seen out of A&M is like getting a good, solid B, maybe even a B+ on an open book test.
What did I tell you about an open book test at my house?
That only an A, probably even an A+ on your house.
Yeah.
In your house.
If it's an open book test, you best get an A, especially in elementary and middle school, right? College might be a little bit more difficult.
Well, this is college, so it's a little more difficult.
This is TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. We're mixing some things up today, OB. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline because we're joined by Marty Smith, and this is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Some things just go better together. Burgers and fries, Friday nights and football, and now Academy Sports and Outdoors, plus Whataburger. For a limited time, exclusive Academy and Whataburger tailgate gear is coming in hot. Score game day gear, fan styles, and more. Dig in now at Academy where the fun can't lose. Marty, good morning, buddy.
Gentlemen, good morning. Appreciate you adjusting, David, very much. I hope you guys are fantastic. The Texas Fighting Aggies are 2-0. Y'all ought to be thrilled down there. I heard you talking about how they should be graded. Shoot, dude, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. I mean, you didn't have your quarterback the whole game against Utah State, and when you had him, you were rolling. So I'd be happy as hell if I was you guys.
Not unhappy, just certain things that you see that are make you concerned, like the tendency still to give up the long run.
Correct.
And getting fourth down and not be, close. 4th and 1 against Utah State. Those are some issues from last year. So
I'd be doing backflips that my team is vertical. That's what I'd be doing.
All right.
I would be so happy that offensively you look explosive. You look explosive at running back. You look explosive on the perimeter with those newly acquired wide receivers. And as I've said on this program before, I just think Reed he's just so dynamic. And it looks like he's so much more comfortable throwing the football vertically. To me, anyway. I don't know. You guys are there, but that's the way I see it.
Marty, I think the parity in college football, though, I find interesting because we think of it from the top 25 level or how deep the SEC is. But really, when you're looking at some of these inferior schools, and I mean that with respect, the Clemson-Troy game, the Georgia-Austin Peay game, LSU-Louisiana Tech, these are all games that fans want to see a certain score. And they were close, but I think there's a lot of variables there, right? Coaches are trying to experiment with new players, go very basic. What are your thoughts on why some of these games were a little closer?
I think, specifically with Clemson and LSU, you got to remember the emotion from which look, these are 19 and 20-year-old young men. And that's a very real thing. Clemson's coming off a really disappointing loss, and LSU's coming off a really euphoric victory. Both of them are going against teams that they should absolutely boat race out of the stadium in a quarter, and it didn't happen. And I think hangover is a part of that both ways. And you heard both coaches say that after their respective games. Once Clemson got it together and they had that crazy weather delay and all that, they looked way better. And I thought that Dabo explained well, specifically about his quarterback. It's all how you respond. So you're a guy who is so seasoned and highly touted in Cade Klubnik, and deservedly so. He's a great football player and a great leader of men. And you have this pick six, and you're losing to Troy at home, and there could be an old bleep moment there. But how do you respond? And that young man responded very well as expected. And they won the game. And then on the other side, same thing for LSU. They looked flat. Brian Kelly claims they got out-coached. I think in certain ways that's protecting your players. And they won the game. So ultimately, that's what you're doing it for. And I understand there's areas that you want to be better and you're supposed to blow these guys out. But I think there's another layer, and it applies far more to LSU than it does to Clemson. Clemson's had a lot of continuity through the years with, Dabo's staunch approach to the portal, etc. BK dominated the portal. He won the portal in the offseason. They have all these new guys. And with that comes the difficulty of growing chemistry and consistency within that. And that's why winning matters no matter what the actual outcome is in terms of how bad you beat them. What matters is the outcome in terms of what column the check is in. And they won. And then, you have Florida. I'm sure you're going to ask me about that. There's a lot of Florida Gator fans who are ready to run Billy out of town, and were last year. And they had a hell of a turnaround once Lagway became the first-string quarterback all by himself after Mertz got hurt. And they were pretty darn good at the end of last year. They should not lose to South Florida on paper. But what Alex has built down there in Tampa, man, I mean, they ran Boise out of town. They dominated. They destroyed Boise. Boise was the 25th ranked team in the country at the time. And Florida was a top 25 team. I'm trying to find this stat, which you got. Here you go. You may have this stat, David. You may have already read it this morning. According to ESPN research, the South Florida Bulls are just the fourth team in the AP poll era since 1936 to win their first two games against ranked opponents while being unranked, joining the 76 North Carolina Tar Heels, 2008 East Carolina, and 2012 Oregon State. So that's a really good football team. But specifically to Billy Napier, all right, a lot of people want to point to their missteps as coaching missteps because they look at it being a coaching variable when somebody commits a personal foul by spitting in another man's face. Discipline is important. It's important to demand it. It's important to follow through on those demands. Billy Napier is a Nick Saban disciple. But he ain't inside that helmet, man. That is a personal decision to let your emotion get to that place. And yeah, it's fundamentals, so maybe this falls on coaching, but they snapped the football over the punter's head too. So I feel like context is important, and I know what Florida Gator fans are saying because my timeline is exploding with it. But I don't know. I can see why the frustration's there, and Billy said, look, it's not acceptable. Like he's saying that himself.
Okay, first of all, what would be the right way for Billy Napier then to respond to the player that spit on, got the personal foul for spitting, and then it actually led to them losing? And then I'm going to change gears and say, okay, we're talking about these games that Florida lost, maybe some teams not looking so good. What do you make of Mississippi State going out and getting a big win over Arizona State?
I thought it was awesome. And they took it personal, what Coach Dillingham had to say about Starkville and the hotel situation. They obviously took it personal to defend their town and defend their tradition and defend their pride. It was a hell of a win, and one that not many of us expected, myself included, even though it was in Starkville, and man, that place is hard to win.
Yeah,
you
tell
hear
us
them
about it.
cowbells for 2 weeks after you leave there. And I'm thrilled for Jeff Lebby, one of the most brilliant offensive minds in the game, and they had a great game plan, and I felt like that was one of the 2 or 3 statement wins of the weekend. And for them, though, you know, USF won on the road in the swamp. Mississippi State was defending their honor, and they did it well, and they let them know about it afterwards. So I think that was an incredible performance against a really good football team. Of course, went to the college football playoff last year, made a lot of noise. They don't have Scattaboo anymore. He's knocking people's heads off with the Giants now, but a great win for State. And what does that purport for them in the SEC slate? They're better than expected, better than predicted. So I'd be feeling good if I had one of them cowbells in my hand.
Marty, for A&M, what kind of statement can they make for college football? And look, we recognize it's a long season because they were very good last year, 7-1 to start, but they did lose that Notre Dame game. What kind of statement can they make by going to Notre Dame and winning here in week 3?
A season-defining one. And they're good enough to do it. Notre Dame is really good. I really like Carr a lot. He impressed me in that season opener, despite the loss. And they're going to be they're hard to beat at home. But I really like what I'm seeing from A&M, especially if Reed's healthy. I don't know. What's the update there? Y'all got to give me some news.
His dad tweeted out that he was fine and ready to go, or that he'll be ready to go.
But what got hurt? What was the problem?
That part we're still trying to wait.
Yeah, they won't say. Looked like he got hit on the ground.
Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe it was something to do with his shoulder, but that's just speculation. But his dad, again, put it on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, that he was fine. So we'll see.
Well, that's coming from the family. That's good. And I hope he's okay. Again, I love watching that kid play. But if they do, David, go in there and get a victory, it can be one of those victories that propels you to incredible heights. And if it's a close loss, it can still give you the self-confidence going into the conference slate. But you don't want to go in there and get embarrassed, because that can be such a tremendous setback, and I don't expect that. I think they're going to go in there and compete their butts off. I really like the toughness that Elko has instilled in this group. It's not surprising, because that's his brand. That's his energy. And those offensive components, the guys on the perimeter, they seem to have really enveloped themselves and built a great chemistry really quickly. They must have worked really hard preseason together to build that. It's fun to watch. I was just watching them this morning before I came on with you guys. But no offense to Utah State, that's Utah State. Now we're going to South Bend, Indiana. So they can win this game. And if they do, again, it could be a season-defining moment.
So what would be the matchup that would give you some pause to think, okay, I'm concerned about A&M being able to hold up in this particular matchup?
I don't know that I'm concerned, but that defensive line has to be disruptive because the Notre Dame running game is going to be really good. Just is. And if they can be disruptive and limit Jeremiah Love and make Carr beat you vertically, I think that's, at least from my perspective, a winning formula. I think offensively, A&M has a real chance because they're so dynamic and in multiple ways offensively. I really like the way they run a football. So run it and stop the run. I mean, it's like going back to, what you learned in 7th grade when they put you in a 3-point stance for the first time.
Marty, before we let you go, what's the latest with the podcast? Anything going on this week?
Yeah, we had Greg Olson on. It was just so good. And I mean, he gets into everything. He talks about, I live in Charlotte, and I don't remember an athlete that has been as transcendent from our city as Cam Newton. But Cam can be so polarizing. And so I was so curious with Greg. Cam's been great to me, just for the record. But I was curious about Greg's opinion about Cam. You're not going to want to miss that. It's up now. I just put it on my Instagram story. He talked about brain trauma in football. That was very interesting. He talked about what he believes is broken in NIL and portal and how he believes it should be fixed. He talked about youth sports and what is going on there, which any of you guys who are parents that have traveling kids, it's a lot. And so it was really fascinating, wide-ranging conversation from somebody who's been great to me and to Jimmy Johnson, who won a bunch of NASCAR championships. So it's called Never Settle. Check it out. David, thank you for asking, and thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Marty. We'll talk to you next week, buddy.
Have a good one. Good luck to the Aggies.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Marty Smith there on the Buppy's Catering Bartending Hotline. Appreciate his time. He was great. Here's the thing. OB, we should take him to eat when he's in town. We should, right?
Well, next time he's in town.
Yeah.
Because if he comes, he's going to be here most likely on a Thursday, a Friday,
or
definitely a Saturday.
And where would we take him?
We'd take him to 1775 because he's a good guy. And
would you take a bad guy to 1775?
If I was trying to maybe build bridges, right? Or rebuild. But mainly, I would feel bad for Marty because, like you said, he lives in Charlotte, and their idea of barbecue
is not barbecue.
It's not. Well, it's okay.
But it ain't Texas barbecue.
But that's right. It's not Texas barbecue. And if you want to introduce somebody to Texas barbecue, you want to introduce them to the best around, and that would be 1775.
1775, yeah. No jokes in this one. Open Thursday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until they're sold out. Check them out at 8203 Raymond Stosser Parkway in College Station, or call them up, 979-492-6241. It is 1775txbbq.com.
It's really good.
Hey everyone, it's David and Olin from the Holistic Planning
Cool Zone.
I like when we have the chairs here because I don't feel like I have to do this when we're talking about holistic planning. But they want you to know, TexAgs subscribers, they take care of the TexAgs subscribers.
Oh, absolutely. Take care of everybody.
They want to know that anybody who signs up by November 27, 2025 will receive this awesome offer. If the Aggies beat the Longhorns or win in Austin on November 28, 2025, clients will pay no management fees to Holistic Planning for the entire 2026 calendar year.
That's free.
It's free 99. Actually, just free.
All you got to do is beat Texas. Well, it's not if they beat Texas. It's when they beat Texas.
When. And when you go to holisticplanning.com, you're going to love Holistic Planning. So it is holisticplanning.com. Check out the website and take advantage of this awesome offer.
So, OB, there's a guy on YouTube.
Okay.
He's a great listener. I don't know about great. He's a nice human being.
All right.
But he's been jaded over the years from the Aggies.
Okay. Many have.
Yeah, and he's not David Edmond. David Edmond is, he's being rehabilitated. Okay.
Okay.
But James, he goes, I don't believe Notre Dame is good, but neither is A&M, and I know A&M football. How do we know the answer to if A&M is good or not? And what is good? What is considered good? Is 8-4 considered good, or is that considered a bad team? How about this? Let's take it from the beginning. What we've seen so far, is A&M a better offensive team than they were last year?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
They are. The additions of Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver have already paid off huge dividends. I wish my investments would pay off as big, as fast as the investments in those two transfers.
Okay. Would you agree that yes, against lesser opponents, I recognize that the pass rush this year is better than maybe a couple games into it last year?
Well, I don't know.
I think that's fine.
Because UTEP got 6 sacks on Utah State the week before.
Yep.
And A&M had 6.
Mm-hmm.
So you did the same as UTEP. So I've got to – I know you didn't get any – you got 1 sack in the first game last year?
Yep.
And 1 sack in the first game this year. Look, if you're as good as you were last year, considering the guys you lost and the uncertainty, then at this point, then I'm taking that.
Okay. Are you right now, based on what you've seen, better against the run so far?
Yes, they are better against the run. However, the one thing that sticks in the craw, right, is still the tendency to give up the big play, and they did it again. It was a 30-yard run. This time, I think it was the second play of the second half. And look, yes, those things are going to happen, and it only happened once, but you still go, okay, it's Utah State. I would assume that Mike Elko feels really good about the way the run defense performed, even with that long run.
All right. And then I'm going to also just make it real for everybody for a second. Let's just say it's not A&M going to Notre Dame. Okay?
Okay.
Let's say it's Florida. Let's say it's Miami going to Notre Dame. Okay? Most good teams would be predicted to lose on the road at night at a top 10-ish school in Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where they're ranked right now, but I'm saying they're in that conversation.
Yes, most of them, you would be the underdog. And A&M should be the underdog.
Absolutely.
Again, A&M has more to prove. Notre Dame lost a close game on the road. A&M looked pretty good, but what's the stat? They haven't won against a road game against a top, maybe even top 25. Maybe it's ranked opponent. That seems odd, but I think since 2014, and maybe it was the win over South Carolina to start the season.
That's correct.
So you have all those variables. But, the thing about all those kind of streaks is eventually they end. Like last year, Vanderbilt beat Alabama for the first time in 40 years.
Yeah, exactly.
All those streaks eventually end. So, by God, why doesn't it end this week?
By the way, we are TexAgs Live.
Yeah, we are.
We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
A gem of a guy.
We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Some more gems of guys, Jason and Jackson and the boys.
Crew, right?
The whole crew.
And typically,
we were in the holistic planning cool zone.
But we didn't because we had Marty.
We had Marty, but the holistic planning cool zone travels.
It travels, yeah. It's like A&M's defense. It's going to travel to Notre Dame, right? And we really hope it does. And also, if you want to call or be a part of the conversation, because everything's kind of pushed back a little bit today, you can do that on the Buppy's Catering and
Bartending hotline.
See, I think I'd be more of a caterer. You'd be more of a bartender if we were to take roles at Buppy's.
If you talk to some of my old colleagues in Austin, they would tell you you're wrong because I used to cook because I was thinking about
gumbo, right?
No, all kinds of things. I was thinking about dabbling about maybe starting a business, and I didn't do it. But anyway, if you want to ask about my cooking prowess or anything else on the show, you can call us. You can text us on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending hotline.
Well, you can call us on that number 979-693-1150. You can text that number as well. People, call us. Let us know how you feel right now on a Monday, 979-693-1150. We haven't gone around the room to say hi to the people.
Then let's do it.
Let's go left to right, through the glass. Nick Savage. Nick, good morning, buddy.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
What's up?
Well, how cool was that 3-play stretch with Cassius Howell, 3 straight sacks? First time for that to happen in a collegiate football game since 2015. I don't know exactly what player did it, but it's been a while. First 3-sack game.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. And first 3-sack performance for an Aggie since Edge Cooper did it against Alabama. But I don't know if y'all saw, Myles Garrett gave it his best effort to match it. He got back-to-back sacks on Joe Burrow yesterday, but didn't get that third.
One was like an angry sack. Do not get him. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I can. I mean,
Getting hit by that?
Getting hit by it. No.
Yeah.
I'd be more worried about getting hit by a helmet, but with Miles. But those are over. But I heard somebody, and the guy deserved it. I heard somebody say, and I don't know if this is true because I didn't hear it from Miles, but somebody tweeted out or texted it, however you want to say it, that Miles was asked about it, and he said, "I'm just trying to, keep up with."
Did he actually say that?
I don't know.
I think that's a Twitter.
I don't think he actually said that.
Yeah.
I was going to say if I never saw it, but if it did,
that would be a perfect.
That would have been awesome.
That'd be a great bite. Hey, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center.
Let's do.
Making her debut on the show, Ella Ryan. Hello, Ella.
Hi, David. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Hey, before we get into some news and notes, can you tell us how you ended up at TexAgs?
Ended up at TexAgs, been thinking about wanting to pursue a career in sports, and I've just heard such great things about this place. So looked into that, and thankfully I'm here starting my debut in the Social Center.
Yeah, you knocked out your what do you call it? Not debut. Your audition a few months back. You were awesome at that. And where'd you grow up? Tell us a little bit about you.
Grew up in Houston, Texas. Grew up in a family of athletes. My dad played collegiate baseball, and my mom played collegiate basketball. But so just
I heard your granddad was a pretty good baseball player.
My grandfather is Nolan Ryan, so a few of y'all might know that name. Not many, but
the best. Hey, let's get into some news and notes, shall we?
Yeah. So last afternoon, TexAgs, the 12th Man posted across multiple platforms that A&M was the only undefeated SEC program, which is great, but also a massive jinx. Because flash forward 6 hours later, the Aggie soccer team was handed their first loss to TCU last night, falling 2-1. Leah Diaz had the lone goal for the Aggies. But on the other hand, volleyball is keeping their hot streak alive with their 5th straight win of the season over Utah State. In the battle of the Aggies, 4 players finished with double-digit kills. But that's not even the biggest headline. Senior Afena Kasapala has now moved into the 9th all-time Texas A&M in career blocks with 391.
Ella, great job. Thank you very much. Awesome, honestly, awesome debut. Great job. All right, let's hit a break, OB. I want us to be subtle and not let people know what we're talking about. Okay?
Okay.
How would you tell people without saying a word, like if they're listening on radio, they'll never get this. How would you let people know what kind of clothing you're wearing?
I would tell them just to read my shirt.
What does your shirt say?
Because it says Duck Camp.
Say it again?
Duck Camp.
And what does Duck Camp mean to you?
It means I'm looking better.
I just want you to say Duck Camp again. Say it again.
Duck Camp. Look at me. Of course you want to wear Duck Camp because, when David wears the Duck Camp gear, and he's got on Duck Camp right now. Yeah, David looks good. But he looks good all the time because he's always lifting weights. He's always jacked. He's always in shape. He's fit. I'm fat, and yet I still look good in it. So if I can look good in a Duck Camp gear, imagine what it could do for you.
I'm a little jealous. I want that shirt. I don't have that one.
Oh, you want me to take it off and give it to you?
I don't. I think there's going to be like old man hair on it. I'm good. So
you count on it.
Duckcamp.com.
Duck Camp.
No, the way you said earlier.
Duck Camp.
Duckcamp.com. Built for the outdoors and designed for everything else.
Duck Camp.
Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign. And they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
All right, OB.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some positives, because I feel like Marty kind of, when we do this show, I think we're just as real as we can be, right? Like, some of it is good, some of it is bad. Offensively, the team, because I don't worry about the run game. Not that I have to. I mean, the last game they ran the ball very well, but I don't worry about the run game. What I do worry about is that pass attack going to be able to hold up against a good defense like Notre Dame? Because what we've seen from A&M, if you consider last season, which by the way is last season, has no bearing necessarily on this year, but this the reference point that we can use. But A&M against the toughest defenses that they played didn't have a lot of offense. Against Notre Dame, not a lot of offense. We can say why. Connor had a rough game.
Yeah.
Okay? Against Texas, not a lot of offense. Missed opportunities for sure. They moved the ball within the, from 20 to 20, but they couldn't fire in the red zone. Against South Carolina, there was a magical few minutes of offense, but overall, lack of offense. But something about this year's offense feels different. And I'm gonna say Casey and Craver for this conversation piece is what is different. And that's Captain Obvious on the year, 11 catches, Casey and Craver on Saturday combined for 11 catches, 187 yards, 3 touchdowns. On the year, 2 games, 381 yards and 6 touchdowns. But considering what they're doing, and oh, by the way, what I know Le'Veon and Marcel can do on the ground, and what I think Ruben can do on the ground, and what I know Amari can do on the ground, and what I think EJ can do on the ground, and Jermarion Morrow can do on the ground, the fact that they can beat you multiple ways offensively gives me a lot of hope for South Bend.
Oh, I have plenty of hope. A&M will be an underdog and should be, like we discussed before. But, there's no reason to go to South Bend thinking, okay, this is going to be a loss. I mean, this is a team that's capable of beating everybody on their schedule, no matter where the game is played.
Yeah.
And yes, because KC Concepcion and Mario Craver have given a fuel injection to that offense, right? Yep. But so did Marcel Reed. I was talking to somebody, I won't say who it is because he's a dear friend, but he was being critical of Marcel and his performance. He didn't say he was bad, but he's like, Marcel, he wasn't that great. And I thought Marcel played and threw the ball really well against Utah State. He had a couple of drops early.
Yeah, that hurt his numbers for sure.
And did he have a couple of bad passes? Yeah, a lot of quarterbacks do. When you throw 30, not all of them are going to be strikes. I mean, her granddad didn't throw strikes every time. Well, so, some of them are going to be off. But I thought Marcel is throwing the ball well, and he's not running as much yet. But I think the running threat that Marcel is, especially to make plays off schedule, I think is something that might get unleashed up in
You
South
take away
Bend.
the name Marcel Reed, and you say Jackson Arnold. You say whoever, I don't care, Nuss. And you go 509 yards passing and 7 touchdowns, no interceptions to start the year. I think most people would be like, it's pretty good, darn good numbers.
8 touchdowns accounted for in 2 games, and not even 2 full games. So, how can you, and by the way, I'm also encouraged by the Aggies' return game and how often they're getting good field position. Now, they get those 4th downs. If they get to that point, they need to convert them, and that's why it's a B, and maybe a B plus, not an A. That's one of the reasons. But I can't imagine if you're looking at it objectively, looking at it and say, "Oh, A&M, they're just gonna lose in South Bend." I don't know why. I seriously doubt the objective Notre Dame fans, or maybe even the unobjective Notre Dame fans, believe that. It's just some Aggies that are just beaten down and expect the worst all the time.
I'm a believer that if you can look, I don't expect to stop the Notre Dame run game. Maybe they do, but I don't expect to stop. But can you limit their big play potential? If you can limit their big play potential, right? I am not worried about this offense this year moving the ball against Notre Dame. Now, Notre Dame's got a really good defensive line. They've got a secondary that, has some different faces, but that talent is not a problem with Notre Dame, regardless if they lose people. But let's go back to Marcel for a minute, because I think the way Coach Elko described it is the proper way. I think the word he used was a bit choppy, but then he goes into the good and the bad. So listen to Coach Elko post-game about Marcel Reed's performance.
a little bit choppy in the vertical passing game. It was nice to see him, connect on the one tomorrow in the second half. I'm trying to remember what else there was, but and then I think that he did a really good job in the RPO game. I thought they gave us a lot of open access things, and he took it. And then I thought in the second half, after the first drive, obviously both sides of the ball, first drive of the third quarter wasn't up to standard, but I thought after that we came out, and I thought he looked like he was getting into a much better rhythm before he came out at the end.
How about that touchdown pass to KC Concepcion when he's just going across?
Oh,
and it's such a great throw. A guy, one of the Utah State defense backs, tried to come off. I think it was Craver he was covering, tried to come off
right.
him, and yet it was so perfectly thrown.
Here it is.
This it? Here it is. He's moving, so he's extending the play, and
so from that angle,
you can't throw it any better.
So from our angle in the press box, when it's happening, I'll give you, exactly how we thought. We're like, what is he doing? Because I didn't see KC bending his run the way he did. I just saw nothing but Utah State. When you watch it from that angle, you could see he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, so exceptional passing. Was it choppy? But when he was good, he was outstanding.
Yeah.
And, I've always been high on Marcel. I continue to be. I think we need to see more consistency out of the running game when they go up to South Bend. Miami scored 27 points against Notre Dame.
Does that win against Notre Dame at South Bend? You think 27 wins?
I think 27 gives you a chance to win.
I agree.
But you're going to have to be better in the run defense. That 90% of the time that you're excellent on run defense, it needs to be 95.
Yep.
Right? And hopefully, Marcus Freeman is going to be looking for love in all the wrong places again.
He's not.
No.
He's not.
No. He's going to be putting love back in the game and focusing and make him the focus of the offense, I assume.
I'm going to make this real simple for me right now. And I don't know how I'm going to feel on Friday when I make my picks, right? I may be leaning a certain direction, but I believe A&M is better than they were last year right now.
Okay.
And I don't believe Notre Dame is as good as they're going to be later on in the season.
Okay.
And I don't think they're as good as they were last year at this point.
And last year, but it was at Kyle Field.
Yep.
Last year.
And this is a must-win for Notre Dame. It's a must-win.
It really is. It really is. A 10-2 Notre Dame, I guarantee you, still gets into the
They
play.
probably do, but the two hardest games on their schedule that they lost.
But they're Notre Dame's. Look, they'll get in at 10-2. But if they were to lose to A&M, it removes any room for to stumble.
So this is what Saturday Down South has. It says the Aggies have a chance to be the biggest spoiler in college football starting in Week 3 at Notre Dame, which can't suffer another loss and expect to return to the playoffs. Now, I think they can, like you said, a 10-2 Notre Dame team gets in probably.
Didn't we learn that in 2020?
We did. But I guess my point is you got to go perfect after that. You still got USC on your schedule, which I don't buy their hype. But 2 losses this early, they have in their mindset has to be we cannot suffer another loss.
Right, and quite frankly, they probably had that mindset last year after losing to Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
Now a 2-loss Notre Dame with one of those losses being Northern Illinois, that might be harder for even Notre Dame to have argued. But this year, again, I think if it's Miami and A&M. I think those are only 2 losses. I think Notre Dame always gets the benefit of the doubt.
All right, when we come back, I do want to go through the turning point, maybe get to a couple of text messages on the show because I know there's some people chatting on both the YouTube page, the premium chat, and also the text line. Right now, Rollo Insurance Group, you get a personalized agent and a direct phone number. You don't have to worry about calling a call tree. You're going to call your guy. You're going to text your guy or your lady. They are the official insurance provider of TexAgs Live. The difference is real. They have over 60 offices in Texas. Whether it's your home, auto, business, or ranch insurance, start a relationship with experts who put you first. Your agent does become familiar with your unique, specific situation, providing a customized protection plan that mass market insurers simply cannot match. So whether you need advice or have a claim, you'll speak directly with someone who knows you by name. That's the Rollo difference. The difference is real. Visit RolloInsurance.com/TexAgs. RolloInsurance.com/TexAgs. 888-44-ROLLO. That's 888-44-ROLLO.
Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever, and also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group, and they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em.
It's your jam right here?
Well, yeah, I like the Johnny Lee from the Urban Cowboy, but I'm impressed with is that Carson again?
I don't know who that
whoever's
is
in
today.
charge of that, you know.
Whoever it is, great job.
Talking about Jeremiah Love and hoping that he only got 10 carries in that first game against Miami. I hope he gets only 10 carries against A&M, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
Will he get 18 carries?
Yes.
Will he get 22 carries?
Maybe.
And they got a couple running backs that are good. Jadarian Price is really good, too.
He is. In fact, he had a long touchdown run against A&M last year.
He did. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Ella Ryan, the people are speaking. What are the people saying?
People are speaking. Casey Carr in the YouTube comments was saying, I've been a Marcel fan since the OSU game. He's a phenomenal QB and leader, and I think we're very lucky to have him. I don't understand what people are hoping to see from him. He's played great every game.
Yeah, look, I think it's a protective thing that Aggies do, because I have very smart people that text me that I know that you own a business, you're smarter than this, that are like very critical of everything that happens because of the fear of, they try to project what A&M does against this on this. If you can't stop the run against UTSA, how are you going to be able to stop Jeremiah Love?
That's fair.
And I get that. I do. And sometimes what you see in week 1 and week 2 become who you are. But I also think there are those examples, like we're seeing maybe with Georgia, like we're seeing with some of these other teams, that you're trying different looks. You're just keeping it very base. You are getting a lot of different guys in. But when you look at when the starters are out there defensively and when they are, I hate to say totally focused, because that sounds like they weren't focused before. But when it's on, I think it's on.
Well, let's hope it's on. Look, again, take away, and you can't, but take away the tendency to give up the big, loud chunk play in the running game, and you're going in there thinking, okay, yeah, Notre Dame's going to have more rushing success because they're a better team with better running backs, but they're not going to be able to dominate the game.
Right.
And that's probably still true. But the concern is that tendency that just comes up, and it just, it's just like getting stung by a bee.
Look, I don't want to take away a column idea that you have and use it here for radio, but
that's fine.
Let's just for a second talk about what happens if Marcel goes to South Bend, throws for 270, 3 touchdowns, runs for 1. A&M comes away with a 6-point victory. What are the headlines then?
Well, first of all, just that A&M won and all this. But if what you just described happens, then Marcel becomes a Heisman Trophy candidate, a bona fide Heisman Trophy candidate, if he plays well in an A&M victory.
And if KC, by the way, has another big game, or Mario, and he goes to South Bend and he has 119 yards and 2 touchdowns, in some places, he might be a candidate too.
Yeah, especially if he can continue catching touchdown passes and then returning punts. When usually, not always, because we can talk about the guys who've won it, but typically, or it used to be that if you had a chance to be a Heisman candidate, it was because you did well as a receiver. I'm talking about as a receiver.
Right.
You did well catching the ball and on kick returns. Tim Brown comes to mind, a Notre Damer.
Yep. Let's go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Let's get 1 or 2 more texts before we hit a break. OB is actually going to stick around for a few minutes at the 9 o'clock. Since Marty came at 8, we just keep OB a little bit longer. Miss Ellen.
So Roel Raymond from Dallas asked, do you think that Notre Dame coming off a bye works in A&M's favor?
I don't think it works in A&M's favor.
Yeah, quite frankly, I don't think it
matters either way.
It matters either way. You can make the argument that they've had 2 weeks to prepare, but at the same time, they've had. I'm sure they wanted to, after that loss, wanted to get right back to work, and they've had to. I don't want to say doubt themselves, because I don't think they doubt themselves, but they've had to just live with that for 2 weeks instead of playing the next week and shedding it. And
I think you can make the argument they should have won that game against Miami. I don't know about should, but
could have. But I think a big part of that was Mario Cristobal.
Yeah.
I think he got conservative and maybe started playing not to lose instead of playing to win.
Sure.
I don't think Elko will do that.
I don't either. I think it'll be interesting though how the A&M defensive line can make life hard on CJ Carr. I think that's going to be a big storyline.
Yeah, and I don't know if they can. I just hope they hold up.
Yeah.
If they can hold up against the Notre Dame offensive line that's supposed to be one of the best in the country, and like you said, had some issues against Miami. If they can hold up and get a stalemate there, then A&M's going to be in good shape.
Spoke to an insider yesterday about Notre Dame. Charles Jagasaw, who's one of their better offensive linemen, didn't play against A&M last year, if I remember correctly.
He didn't.
He had a motorcycle or ATV accident during the off, some kind of accident.
Yeah.
There was some reports that he could maybe be back by early mid-September. That doesn't look like the case. They said in the best case scenario, maybe he could start practicing this week, but they would highly doubt that he would play until much later in the season.
Yeah. But, they beat A&M without him last year. So
They did. All right, we'll do this. We'll hit a break. OB will come back for a few minutes on the other side. Billy should join us. We'll get to more of your text messages, 979-693-1150. It is TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. And as a reminder, they are not open on Mondays. OB sticking around for a few minutes as we juggle the schedule. Marty Smith joined us very early. OB, what was the turning point for you in the game?
That's a good question.
There wasn't really
because I never felt like A&M was in trouble.
Right.
But
got to be good the Cassius, right? The Cassius 3 sacks, even though they didn't score right away after that, it just felt like they could do what they wanted to do.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting, obviously. I guess I should feel bad for number 56, the left tackle from Utah State, but I don't. Cassius, that was, maybe I would say Le'Veon Moss's 20-yard run, because it was still kind of a game, even though I never thought that it was going to be a loss. But I think that the thing that really stood out, you could say it was the touchdown pass to Terry Bussey, right? Okay, they're up 7-0. But, yeah, that was amazing, watching the three. You would think they would have Utah State would have started giving some help to that tackle.
A couple things that I want to bring up. I'm not going to use Florida, what happened to the Gators against USF, as what could happen to A&M, but something to consider from that game. They had I believe they had 2 touchdowns taken off the board because of penalties. They had the spitting penalty, right? And not that translates to A&M, but what does translate to A&M is a couple of penalty problems in crucial moments of the game against Utah State, where you got I think twice on the second touchdown, you had third downs and penalties.
3rd and 10 and 3rd and 8.
Right.
They got a 15-yard pass interference on one and a face mask on the other.
Right, and I believe the first drive as well, right?
The first play.
So
was a roughing the passer.
So you just got to be in a game with thin margins. You cannot do that against Notre Dame.
Right, and that's why my grade's a B for right now for the first 2 games. Because of the penalties, the tendency to still give up the long run, and then you missed 2. You turned the ball over on downs twice on 4th down. Obviously, on 4th down, that's why you turned on downs. And in both times, you got great field position, so you didn't take advantage of great field position. I think they took the ball. They took over at the 36 after Cassius House's 3 sacks, the punt.
They had really good, and they didn't convert. Yeah.
And I didn't like the play call. And all they did was just run straight ahead. So, because I think you're supposed to be able to just line up and just run straight ahead on Utah State, but maybe you have to also maybe they're playing a little more vanilla because of who they're playing this week.
And I think we'll know more, right? Like we'll be able to answer a lot of these questions that we have. Can they stop the run, the big plays? Are they keeping things vanilla? We'll have answers to that here.
Well, they should be.
Yeah, some answers to it.
Yeah.
Let's hear from Coach Elko, because he did sum up the game, and he, like us, critical of certain parts and certainly happy with other parts of the game.
Thought we handled that game the way we needed to handle it through 3 quarters. I thought through 3 quarters we played the way we wanted to play. It was good to see us play a little bit more consistently on defense for the most part of that game. I thought we put that thing away after the 72-yard pass, and then I just thought, a little disappointed in how we finished and the level drop that happened when we kind of went to some other guys at the end of the game. But that's something that we'll correct on film and get better at. But we're excited to be 2-0. Obviously, that was how the season had to open, and now the real challenges begin, and going up to South Bend next week. And so. And then from an injury standpoint, so you guys don't have to ask, anticipate Trey and Marcel being fine. Trey could have come back. We chose not to just because of the way the game was being played. Fully anticipate Marcel will be fine for next week, and so that's kind of where we're at.
You expect that to be the first question today?
I think it'll come up. He'll probably he's very media savvy.
Yeah.
and he'll probably just
Am I
in his
right?
opening.
I believe I remember in the press conference, Christy Reichen from the AP asked him what the injury was. And
She said, can we ask? No. Oh, okay.
Gamesmanship.
But, yeah, look, Marcel is off to a tremendous start. 8 touchdowns accounted for, 7 passing. He's going to be playing, apparently. That gives you a tremendous chance to win. Again, let's talk about briefly. Last year, I know last year is different, everything. I think we've said it before. You think A&M is better than they were last year.
I think they're better.
I don't know if Notre Dame is, but last year, the game is tied with 3 minutes to go with your quarterback having a horrific day, and the game's tied. Now, you don't have Shamar Turner and Shamar Stewart and Nick Scorton out there, so that changes things. But you know what? They don't have Riley Mills and Howard Cross and Jack Kaiser and Benjamin Morrison, Xavier White, all those things. Riley Leonard, so things change, but there's no reason to go to South Bend or to watch the game and think, okay, A&M can't win this game.
So let's talk about some of the chaos potentially in the SEC. Because what does the Clemson game against Troy tell you about LSU? / what is LSU's, not beautiful performance, if you will, over the weekend? Because this weekend, we're going to get, I think I'm right, Florida at LSU, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What if Florida, who everybody's ready to fire Billy Napier, and by the way, I get it. I'm not saying that I don't understand the conversation. If Florida goes to LSU and beats LSU, talk about how everything could potentially look.
Well, I think this is going to be, I think Florida, despite everything you saw last week, and maybe South Florida's just really good, but I think Florida is going to be the strongest test that LSU's resurgent defense is going to have faced so far. You got Ball, you got the Wilsons, Dallas and Eugene at receiver.
Yep.
They supposedly have a good offensive line, of course, Lagway. So I think that LSU team is going to be tested more than it's been tested. Clemson, to your question, we talked about this before too. Clemson, so much of their offensive success last year, their resurgent, just what do you know? It happened when they got in the ACC.
Yeah. What does that tell you about the ACC?
Right. So I'm still not. Is LSU better defensively? Yeah, that's pretty apparent. But how much better? I think that's still up in the air somewhere.
I think they're significantly better from what I saw, but I recognize that Clemson may not be who we thought they were. And I was wrong. I thought a veteran team like Clemson was going to be good. But if you look at the ACC in general, Miami looks to be pretty strong. SMU loses to Baylor. Clemson's had their issues already.
Again,
Florida State looks really good, but...
Yeah, they do. Of course, they should have looked really good last week. I tell you right now, today, I will not be the bit surprised if we fast forward 3 months and Clemson doesn't win the ACC.
So let me ask you this. Do you think, and again, we're not Florida insiders, is it possible Billy Napier is not the coach when they come here? I think because put up the schedule. If you can't, I'm sorry, Nick, to be so demanding. If you look at it, they've got LSU. This is A&M schedule.
You want Florida schedule?
Yeah, if you have it.
Sorry, yeah, one second.
Do you have Florida schedule? Because here we go. All right, look at that. Look what they have: 3, 5, and 7.
I think I don't think so. I think he'll be the coach when they play A&M. But if he's not the coach at Florida, he'll get fired. He'll get fired before they play Texas because there's an open week there.
Oh, so you could see him losing his job if he loses 3 straight. South
I don't
Florida,
think he will.
LSU, Miami.
But I think if you're going to fire him, you're probably, let's say they lose to LSU and Miami, and you're 1-3, and everybody's upset like they are now. The pitchforks and the torches.
He's going to win a game he's not expected to win now, and it might be the Texas game.
And they'll be at home, which, by the way, with it being a home game, if you were going to have a coaching change, that might make it, hey, because we got an open weekend, the next one's at home, we don't have to worry. I don't think they'll fire him. I think if he gets fired, it'll be after the season. Now, if they had their former athletic director, whose name I can't think of, Jeremy Foley, who said, anything you got to do eventually, you should do immediately. He lived by that. I don't know if he would make it through the season, and he still might not if they don't turn things around. But I would. Because
what if South Florida is for real? What if South Florida goes?
I think South Florida is for real.
Yeah,
but you know what? What if UTSA is for real?
Well, they lost to.
I know, but
Texas
what if
State.
they had been for real and you had lost to them? I don't care how for real UTSA is.
You should never lose to them.
Right.
Just like South. Yeah, I see your point. You should never. But if South Florida goes to Miami, is it? I think it's in Miami. I might be wrong here. But they beat.
I would just about guarantee it is.
Yeah, and they beat Miami.
Yeah.
3 ranked wins to start the season.
They look. Their quarterback looks electric, and their defense is really good.
Something tells me you don't buy Oklahoma yet. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, yes, they are better. Mateer's a good quarterback.
He is a good quarterback.
I'm still not sure if he's that far and away the Heisman guy that some are making him out to be.
Yeah.
But he's really good. Fun to watch.
May he get on your list yet?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. He could. Because Michigan, decent defense, but that defense was also in a really bad spot a lot of times because of their offense and aptitude. But they're clearly a significantly improved team.
And I think he's a really good quarterback. One of the things that I heard, I think it was Chris Doring talking about, is like you watch him, he falls forward when he runs. There's not a lot of, and I cringe sometimes making comparisons of guys who have played there. There's a little Baker in him. There is a little bit of showmanship, kind of a guy who just not a rah guy in the Baker way, but a just team rallies around him.
No doubt about that. No doubt. But he had a solid game against a good defense. What we think is a good defense, I assume, is a very good defense. 270 yards passing, 74 yards rushing, accounted for 3 touchdowns.
I will tell you, and I know that the schedule hasn't been crazy, and we're about to find out, but I have been impressed with Joey Aguilar in Tennessee.
Okay.
We're about to find out, though. They get Georgia this weekend, right? But I have been impressed with, because against inferior opponents, who have they played so far? Nobody, right?
No, I'm trying to remember. Though they played Syracuse to open up, and I don't know how good Syracuse is. I don't think they're that good. I don't think they're as good as they were last year. We'll see. And then they played East Tennessee State. That would be almost like playing Stephen F. Austin. Probably a little bit better than Stephen F. Austin, but, kind of in the same kind of ilk.
Yeah, but if they go and win this game against Georgia, then I think we start talking about them differently.
Well, of course we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just way I said, if A&M beats Notre Dame, everybody naturally is going to be talking about A&M a lot different.
And then the other game that I'm interested in, just because I want to know more about Georgia Tech, is the Georgia Tech-Clemson game. Because that game right there, it could put Georgia Tech in a really nice spot for the year.
Absolutely. If you have a win over Clemson, the team that most people think would win the ACC, then you've got pole position. I'll use that kind of analogy since, that part of the world is so into NASCAR.
All right, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. A couple text messages have been coming in. Ella Ryan's there. Ella, give us some thoughts.
Yeah, Chase in Houston was asking that people think if losing on the road by less than a TD makes Notre Dame bad, it's clear to box score readers only. This is a matchup of 2 good teams, and unless someone gets blown out, it's not going to define if a team is bad.
I don't think anybody's going to get blown out in this game. I think it's going to be a lot like last year, maybe a little more scoring, but it's going to be in the fourth quarter, and it's going to be up for grabs.
Yeah, if I were to predict this, I think the game's going to be one in the 20s, like 26-24 kind of game. If I were to guess, and for A&M to win, though, they got to get. I think they have to get the score closer to the 30s, right? The higher 20s.
Probably.
I, for some reason, if it's a teams game, I think that is more of a Notre Dame kind of game.
Okay. Well, it could be. I do think that A&M has the ability to score 30 points in that game. I don't know that they will.
Right.
But I don't think the Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver success is because they were playing inferior opponents. I think it's because those guys are electric and they really do great things.
Yeah. Now let's get another one in before we hit a break.
Yeah, Dave Brenham asked, how many losses will Michigan have by the end of the year?
Oh, that's a good. Well, let's see. I'm going to look at Michigan's schedule right quick. The thing about Michigan and even Oklahoma by that, hey, look at how Oklahoma, they did this. Michigan could not dominate New Mexico.
Yep.
So again, that's why I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit. I could see Michigan losing to USC. I think they almost did last year, and that's on the road. I don't know how good Washington is. Michigan State, they're not very good, I don't think, but it's a rival game. They're going to lose to Ohio State, I would bet. I think Michigan's
9-3.
I think Michigan, not 8-4.
You think they're 8-4?
I think they could. They already got one loss. I don't know what to make of Nebraska.
I don't either.
But it's at Nebraska.
Yeah.
I could see they're 9-3 or 8-4.
Yep. OB, thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. I think we'll have Billy on the other side. Right now, we're talking Heritage Films. They are the proud sponsor of the No Layups podcast that debuts later on today with my buddy Raheel. It's just a conversation about college sports for the most part. We talk about a lot of things, but it'll just be a conversation. Hopefully, you guys will join us on that show. I believe Cousin Shane's going to be joining us on the No Layups podcast later on today. So looking forward to that. And Travis Johnson, who played at Florida State and played for the Houston Texans. So we'll be chit-chatting with both of those guys. But when it comes to Heritage Films, get a documentary done. Seriously, what are you waiting for? You don't have to be Nolan Ryan to get a documentary done about you. You can be Olin Buchanan. You can be Billy Liucci. You could be Luke Evangelist. You could be anybody, right? Because a documentary is really about telling the story and passing it on for the next generation. And that's what Chance McClain and his team does so well. They tell these stories. They tell your story, your family business story, your family ranch story, whatever it may be, in a 2-hour documentary, Netflix-style show. And you're going to love it, and your family's going to love it, and it's going to be something for the next generation to really know the real root of your family, the story behind it. The website is yourheritagefilm.com. Yourheritagefilm.com. You can call them up at 713-893-8341. It is Heritage Films. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center and get some news because we did have the AP and the coaches poll come out over the weekend, on Sunday, actually, yesterday. So give us the update on that, if you don't mind, Miss Ella Ryan.
Yeah, so basically A&M has moved up a few spots in the AP poll, and so did our friends Notre Dame, though. They are now in 8th now. They were 9th last week. So
Okay, they moved up a spot.
They moved up a spot. We moved up 3, and how are you feeling about that, David?
I'm looking at
Or
this.
2?
Look, there's going to be questions about A&M until you answer some of them this weekend against Notre Dame. A big victory will put them close to the, probably 12. I mean, I guess depending on what happens with Clemson and Georgia Tech, right? I think that in the Tennessee-Georgia game. But if A&M can go and win a game against a top 10 Notre Dame team, the question will be how far does Notre Dame then drop?
Yeah.
Because that'll be 2 losses to start the year in the first 3 weeks. And how high does that win put A&M? So what is it, 16th overall? And then in the coaches poll, I think they moved up 5 spots in that one, right, Ella?
I can find that, but I knew they moved up a big jump.
Yeah, I believe that. I have it right here. They moved up in the coaches poll to 17th. So they moved up 5 spots in the coaches poll. What other notes do you have for us?
One that I kind of liked is that USF is now 23rd in the AP poll, but a lot of people were saying that South Florida plays Miami this week, so we'll find out how good they are soon.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we already know how good South Florida is, but are they a legitimate threat? Now, if they take care of business in their conference, they're going to be a team that absolutely is in the mix for the college football playoffs. 2 top 25 victories to start the year. You go to Miami and you lose that one. Look at the slate though. Like the A&M Notre Dame game. I was not on the internet yesterday. I'm sure they've announced where game day is going this week. It's obviously not A&M. Right?
Yeah, it's going to Georgia, Tennessee.
Okay, yeah, I figured that would probably be the case. So, but look at that slate with A&M, Notre Dame, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida at LSU, which that would have probably been to me the game day game had Florida not lost, and USF at Miami, Clemson at Georgia Tech. And with that, Billy Liucci is here in studio. Hello. Oh, I'll let you put your mic on. Billy Liucci. Hey, sir. We'll read a text. How about that while we get Billy's mic on? Ella?
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat right now are trying to compare Moneyline Mateer to Money Manziel. So what are your opinions on his run game right now?
It's been nice. It's been really nice.
I really like, I would, I'm not saying over Marcel. I think that'll be an interesting, not just Mateer, but a lot of these quarterbacks around the SEC. Maybe even our boy over there at Tennessee, Aguilar. There's a lot of them that have gotten off to starts that catch your attention, but probably none more so than Mateer. But just, because they played I don't think Michigan's a good team. I think they're going to suck.
8-4 suck or
no?
Worse?
Well, I think if they were in the SEC, I think they'd be battling 6-6.
Okay.
I don't know what their schedule is in the Big Ten. I haven't looked at do they play Penn State, Oregon, and Ohio State?
I don't believe they do. I just looked at it a minute
because
ago.
If
they do play Ohio State.
And I know they beat Ohio State last year, but if they did, that's probably an automatic 4 losses already to start. So then I'd be in that 7-5, 6-6 range. But you can look it up. It's interesting, but I don't even care. My point is, if they were in this conference, I don't think they're good. I think it would be like beating a team that would at best go 3-5 in the SEC.
A Vanderbilt-ish.
Unless they drew Texas' schedule and they got Kentucky, Vandy. By the way, I think Vandy would give Michigan all they wanted, and then some, probably. I mean, first of all, Pavia versus Bryce Underwood. Today, there's no comparison. Bryce Underwood will end up, I think being a great quarterback, and he's NFL prototype versus Pavia. But if those two teams played this week, Vanderbilt would not trade their quarterback for Bryce Underwood. Now, I think Underwood's incredibly talented. Running into Venables in that defense was a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said that last week, and that was a lot. It reminded me of Arch running into Matt Patricia, and Arch is a lot more experienced than Underwood. So right now he can't I thought they were silly for not running him more. I was watching the Bills-Ravens last night, and I was sitting there going, I wish Josh Allen, I had to do it with my prize picks too because I needed him to go like 32 yards, but why the hell won't Josh Allen run more? Lamar Jackson's doing it. He's not doing it every down, but when he does it, he's eating that defense alive, and Josh was not doing that. Now, they ended up winning, thrilling game and stuff, but I just think Josh Allen, I understand you want to stay healthy, but when everybody turns and runs and are covering and the pass rush passes you, I would like to see him run more than he does. And I damn sure early in the career would like to see Bryce Underwood do that more. I think they'd be a better team. They'd have had a better chance to beat OU. Michigan's O-line is trash. And OU has a good defensive front. I think I'm more bought in on their defense than I was. But I also think Michigan's O-line is trash. I think Underwood didn't know what he was seeing. I think it was very difficult for them to throw. And I think Michigan should have picked Mateer off about 4 times. So while everyone is kissing his ass, and they will all week, and all our friends over there around the conference and around the country are going to kiss the ring of Mateer and say, OU's back, and just like they love to do with these programs, the reality is Michigan was bad. Mateer legitimately could have thrown 4 interceptions in that game. At the same time, when you watch football and you say, did you watch the game? And I say, yes. And were you impressed with that quarterback? The answer is yes. He's a winner. He's a competitor. I think he's going to be a guy that does throw picks and turn the ball over, but you're going to live with it because he's going to outperform those mistakes with big plays.
Could everybody be bad? Better phrased. Could nobody be that good?
I mean, not nobody, but most of them.
Well, I'm just like, have you seen anybody like, wow, they do look like.
It's interesting because I was looking at OU's schedule, and we're like, man, it's so tough. But you look at some of the teams they play, and you go, but yeah, they could certainly beat a lot of those teams. You look at Auburn, Alabama, right? I mentioned Vandy. That's one of them. I mean, there's really not Texas. Okay, I feel a lot. I don't say better, but I feel a lot. I'm a lot more in the OU camp in terms of their chances to win that game at the Cotton Bowl in a few weeks than I was. I'm not saying I would pick them today. I might though. That OU defense against that Texas offensive line and Arch. I mean, I might. So
I'm leaning Oklahoma in that game today.
I mean, today I think Mateer has shown me more than Arch.
Yeah.
And now again, I don't think Michigan's great, but you just watch those two guys play, and one of them looks confident, and he's letting it rip, and he's not scared. And the other one, even against San Jose State, looked still a little tentative. By the way, the biggest fraud of the day from the Texas fans that I think is, and you guys listening here, welcome to my morning. I hope I piss you off again today, and you're sitting there really upset at work or in your basement or wherever you're at, but I'm going to say this. You guys are absolute dumbasses if you're trying to believe it. And I listened to it yesterday. We did the podcast, and we did the moving goalposts. And Amanda was reading somebody saying that Arch has always grimaced when he threw, and I guess he said something about when it's a bad throw, he gets pissed and and they showed picture from last year where he's grimacing. I'm like, that doesn't change the fact that's still not good. It's not. It's not. There's nothing. Okay, from someone who comes from a pitching family, would you agree that it's not good if you look like you're in real pain when you throw? And it's not Nolan Ryan throwing 100 miles an hour when no one else could, which he'd probably throw 110 today. Really probably would throw like 106, I'll bet. But it's not like you're not just literally throwing something as hard as you can with every ounce of your body behind it. You're throwing a football. You're playing pitch and catch. And to grimace when that ball's thrown, that tells me you're in pain. I don't want the dude to be hurt. I don't think he's necessarily in harm's way. I don't know if they'd have him out there. But I've seen quarterbacks with shoulder injuries for 25 years of doing this. You know what it looks like when they're grimacing and grunting when they throw it. To my opinion, there's something going on there, which is fine. I've watched Aggie quarterbacks play through it.
Battle through that, yeah.
Johnny did that. He got hurt in the fourth game against Auburn and didn't miss a game all year and went to New York. But it is kind of where you're like, I'm wondering how close is he, to that being a problem.
Right.
And is that affecting the way he throws? And for them to go and study tape like the Zapruder film and tell he's always made those, it still doesn't make it good. Maybe he was hurt last year. I don't know. But that's funny to me. But Mateer has impressed me. It's one game, but it's a moving target every week in this league. So we feel good, and everybody's talking about Mateer and OU, and last week it was Nussmeier and LSU. And what you do, and last week it was Sellers. Okay, so now you don't move the target, right? You put them in the good bucket, and you bump LSU to number 2 in your way too early rankings, and you have them as a playoff lock, and but then all of a sudden Clemson looks like crap. They're down 16-0 to Troy. Cade Klubnik's got a real problem right now. That Clemson offense and Garrett Riley, who was so great at TCU, I don't understand what happened. He went from TCU and Duggan and everything they did, and now he's got Cade Klubnik at Clemson, and they can't do anything offensively. But you go over there, they got an offensive issue. So all we did last week was talk about how great the LSU defense is and how great Nussmeier is, when he didn't really put up much against that Clemson defense.
Right.
He had a solid game. Then he goes and they play La Tech, and they're up 10-0 at halftime. He throws a pick, and Clemson's down 16-0 to Troy. Really wins it off defense, not because of their bad offense. And nobody reevaluates LSU, because God forbid you should do that and go against what the mob has told you. Nobody reevaluates LSU because they're on their way to their 4th national championship and 4 coaches. Nobody's reevaluating South Carolina.
They have not looked great.
They struggled for a lot of that game against Va Tech. Vandy pulled away and blew the doors off Va Tech and looked really good. That's Vandy. Those 2 teams play this weekend. I would say through 2 games, Diego Pavia has looked better than Lenore Sellers.
I would agree with
I don't think he is, but so far he has. And Lenore Sellers, and they're up 14-3 right before halftime. Not against UTSA, against South Carolina State. They're up 14-3 with 2 kick returns for touchdowns and a minute left in the half. Lenore Sellers is 2 of 8 for 20 yards. Imagine our fans if Marcel Reed or any quarterback in A&M history was 2 of 8 for 20 yards and a half against a team like that.
Well, hold that for the next segment.
But we don't move the target on them at all either, because we've already put them in the top 10 pocket. So they just have to stay there, and you can't really be critical of them or LSU now until they lose a game. But let's start really analyzing this.
I agree.
Okay, so Mississippi State, way more impressive than I thought. And that's real. I don't think ASU's great, but they're way more impressive. I think that's real. OU, better than I thought. Auburn, a little better than I thought. And then, you see what Baylor did with SMU. Auburn's actually got a little substance behind what they've done. The other 2 teams that everybody just shot way up, I think a little less substance.
We'll hit a break here. Right now, we're talking about the Association of Former Students. Pass It Back Day is tomorrow. Buy back your years, by the way. You can do that here on the show. We'll have them in studio. But if your organization or business is looking for an opportunity to engage with Aggies, you need to reach out to the Association of Former Students for all their marquee events. We talked about Pass It Back Day. That's tomorrow. There's also Aggie Ring Day, all Aggie Hullabaloo, and the gathering welcome tens of thousands of guests. And there are many sponsorship and vendor opportunities to get your brand in front of those attendees. There's also advertising opportunities in both the Texas Aggie Magazine and the Aggie News newsletter, which are seen by over 230,000 people. So if your business is ready to engage with Aggies, choose a partner with the organization that's been supporting the Aggie Network for over 140 years. For more information on options available through the association, please email sponsorships@aggienetwork.com. It is the Association of Former Students.
Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games there at Olson wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it.
And we're back, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program. Billy, let's kind of, in this segment, reevaluate teams that are on A&M's schedule based on 8. What are you laughing at?
I'm just like, you ever know somebody and they have a baby and it's pretty recent, but you can't remember if it's a boy or a girl.
Oh, yeah, that happens all the time.
Certainly when you can't remember their name and you want to be like,
how are the kids?
So I just texted somebody back and I said, how's the little bambino? Like I don't know. If
Any chance they're listening right now?
Maybe.
Oh no.
Boy, girl. Boy, girl name. God forbid I should remember a name of a baby. I feel like you got to be at least like talking before I'm obligated to remember a name.
I can, yeah. Unless, it depends how close they are.
You have to be able to like at least acknowledge your own name before I do.
How often
does that make sense?
How often do you forget somebody's name that you know pretty well, but you haven't seen him in a while? You're like, God, I know that guy. What's his name? No?
You don't even want to know.
Daily.
You don't even want to. I mean, it's not only that, but like people, I could see as far as they are right here and not recognize them, and then they come on, somebody will go, "Who's that?" I go, "I have no idea. I couldn't see that far. No idea who that was."
There's been times you haven't known it was me at the gym.
That's true. Well, before I could see your face, I can see here comes the sleeveless at the gym guy. So I'm like, okay, that's Nuño, because you're the only one.
I'm not the only one.
Quite literally,
the kids wear it.
Yeah.
You know it's me because of my cankles.
No. See, that you try to get me to say something like that, and then later on you'll be like, oh, you made fun of my ankle.
I've never said that you've made fun of. What? You have this perception of me of like, I get like, yeah, you hurt my feelings. I'm not that person.
You're just stone cold.
I just respond.
No feelings.
No, I
the
have
Iceman.
Feelings. Yeah, pretty much.
I just know I would not criticize your appearance. I would criticize, like I've said, actions that you voluntarily take, which is cutting the sleeves off of a shirt and going in public in said shirt. And I would recognize you from your gait.
I do have a little bit of a limp or a gangster lean, as I like to call it. Mm-hmm. And by the way, if you could, you would. That's what I say.
I would walk like that if I could?
No, you'd cut your sleeves off.
Oh, no, I would not.
You know what? I'm gonna be a big boy here.
Okay.
I'm going to hit a break because if I ask you a question, there's no chance we hit a break on time. So we're going to hit a break here. That's what I do. I just took over the show. Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. When you're looking for a new vehicle, that's the place you go because of all the reasons I've given you throughout the years. But let's go through them. You got the best selection of vehicles, great pricing, great trade-in value, great customer service. That's all you need to know when you're looking for a vehicle. If you get all four of those and Aggie management staff, you're going to jump all over it. That's why I bought our Tahoe at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They have all the kind of vehicles you're looking for. And again, that trade-in value you're going to get there is second to none. You're going to love the entire experience. And remember, it's not that far. The edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell, we're talking 15 minutes away. And it's just a short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. And we're back.
Back.
Hey, how are you, Billy?
What's up, buddy?
Good to see you, man. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. I want to reevaluate teams.
Okay.
Based on the 8 quarters we've seen, the teams that A&M is going to face. We've only seen 4 quarters from Notre Dame. More impressed with them or about what you expected from them so far?
About what I expected. It was weird. That was like a tale of not necessarily 2 halves, but like as the game went on, Notre Dame started looking more and more like I expected.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're going to look different this week because they're going to give the ball to Jeremiah Love.
Yep.
And, they're going to hand it to those 2 tailbacks who killed A&M last year. And they're going to do that and say, we can't do this. We're not going to. C.J. Carter, he impressed me more than I thought.
Me too.
I mean, nothing like, oh, my God, he can't be beat.
But he wasn't frazzled.
I would much rather play him than Riley Leonard. And I would rather have Marcel Reed than him. That doesn't mean that on a given day, C.J. Carr can't be, it's not like Marcel's not, returning Heisman winner Manziel here or something. But I would, if you said just remove your feelings and look at what these 2 guys have done, I said, give me number 10 all day. So I think that is something that I wouldn't have said last year when you have Riley Leonard and what he did at Duke. I thought Connor would play really well in that game. That was like probably one of my bigger surprises, disappointments I've seen covering A&M, to be quite honest with you. But they're going to not put C.J. Carr in that position. They're going to line up and run the ball at A&M because A&M has shown, like, you have to test it. You have to see if they can stop you because they haven't been airtight yet through 2 games. They were a lot better this week. But if you're Notre Dame, you have to see that and go, we're going to spread them out and we're going to run it with these backs and with Carr. And you're going to get a heavy dose of one of the best running backs in college football. Because what they did by only giving it to him was it 9 times in the opener in Miami, and they couldn't block Miami's pass rush.
Right.
Why would you set yourself up for that again? That would play right into A&M's hands. So I think you're going to see them take it to the Aggies and say, stop us. Here it comes. Stop us. And it's going to be a test of this defense's manhood. It's going to be a test of the O-line's manhood. We've talked all offseason, and I've been leading the charge, and I believe that this offensive line is really good. Through 2 games, I think they've been rock solid, 1 sack allowed. They started to run the ball more this week, but I don't think they've been dominant. But I also think you have to kind of understand what you're up against when you play these, in Utah State's case, a dog team. In UTSA's case, a team with 11 new defenders, and you have 0 tape to see what they're going to do. So some of that is confusion-based, sure. And then some of it is, look who they've played. They've kind of played everyone on the O-line. And I want to give a shout-out to Robert Borden for how he played this week. The late flip from Duke. Trey Zune leaves, I believe it was in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Doesn't come back. Elko said that he and Marcel play this week. We'll get an update today. I think it's going to be more of the same on the update front from him on that. But he came in and played the whole. And I know it's Utah State, but I watch, and I'm not making the comparison here, so just stop. But I watched Luke Jokel as a true freshman. Borden's in his 2nd year. But I watched Jokel, his first time to play, have fits with like a pass rusher from Florida International. I mean, just fits. So you never know how, and there's been a couple other times where I've seen young Aggie tackles start and play and have a rough go of it against much lesser opposition. Kenyon Green early in his career. For him to go out and play as well as he did against, even though it's Utah State and you absolutely want and need Trey Zune back for Notre Dame. That's a matchup you don't want to see. Nothing against Robert. But I think he showed like real promise, and you go, okay, not only is this guy talented, he looks good out there, but he's to go out there mentally and be able to handle that, I think is a real feather in his cap and makes me excited about him moving forward because, Blake Ivy's another one from that class. I continue to hear good stuff about. So that was, I think he, deserves special mention after this week to be thrown in the way he was. But the O-line, you didn't have Zune for most of this game. You lost Fathery in camp. So you haven't had that flexibility that you wanted to have. And then they're playing other guys. You can see them there. Sometimes Coley's at center. Naboo's been at guard. Naboo at center. So they're moving stuff around. So it hasn't been just kind of like, hey, starting 5, go out there and kick ass for 4 quarters. Let's go. You haven't gotten to do that yet. I think that's more of what you'll see on Saturday.
All right, we got about a minute and a half. Auburn, I think.
Notre Dame, about what I thought. Yeah.
Auburn, maybe slightly better.
Yeah, I mean, I know Baylor beat SMU, but SMU is still a team that Baylor can physically match up with. Mm-hmm. Auburn was not. So there wasn't that same line of scrimmage mismatch that Baylor was facing against Auburn. So I don't want to put too much into that. But you watch it and you go, okay, this looks better than it did with Peyton Thorne. Jackson Arnold looks better than he did at OU. And you see those skill playmakers, and you go, they're solid defensively. Auburn a little better. Yeah. Mississippi State a lot better. And I know it's just one game, and I think Arizona.
But they won 2 games last year, so
yeah. And I think Arizona State was disgustingly overrated. I think Levitt's kind of a bum. He was a bum against Texas, and then Scatterbo just became Superman. By the way, did you see his highlight yesterday?
Yeah,
incredible, dude. I don't know how long he's going to last in the NFL, but while he's there, I'm going to enjoy watching him. But I think Levitt kind of peed down his leg in front of the Cowbells. I still think the Cowbells should be outlawed. I think it's the dumbest crap in college sports that they allow an entire stadium of fake noisemakers. But I'm going to root for it this year because Texas has to go into Starkville. But anyway, who else?
Well, we'll do it on the other side.
No, these breaks are ridiculous.
Because you show up.
What, 5 minutes late?
19.
Not true.
No, I think
you said you have me at 9:20.
Now we're about to hit a hard break.
You have me at 9:20.
I just have you at 9:20 as a hope.
No, you have me at 9:20.
Okay.
You have me at 9:20 because Marty's supposed to be there. Did you call and tell me Marty was early today? No.
Back. That's on the air. Hey, Nick, what were you talking about there? If you're allowed to share.
We could hear every word.
We heard a lot, but I couldn't tell.
No, we heard the whole deal.
I heard a little.
Zach Bryan.
Oh, you hate him?
I do.
Oh, you hate
Not my
Zach
favorite.
Bryan.
Why? I mean, I'm not
He's
like
not good.
Zach Bryan stan, but why?
Nick is, if you're not from the 1940s and country, Nick is out.
He
or
probably
Megadeth.
likes what's that band with the guy that looks like he's from the 1940s? What band is that? She comes from Silver Spoon, Old Red Dirt.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
I don't know who that
It's
is.
a great song. Red Clay Strays.
Oh, I love it. I could see Nick liking the Red
because
Clay
the guy
Strays.
looks like he's from the 30s.
Yeah, I could see
So
that.
Nick likes him.
Haven't listened to them a lot.
What's his
to be
problem
honest.
with Zach Bryan? I mean, I
Because he
think
doesn't like
His
new
music's
country.
not good.
Well, but I think Zach Bryan, I'm always careful because of people like Johnny, or other people like that everybody has a opinion of and assumes, and I know like they're wrong about things. I'm always careful to not fully believe, but I feel like it's hard for me to get past thinking that Zach Bryan's a total jerk, total asshole.
He makes good music, though.
I'll listen to his music. I mean, there's a lot of people in music that are,
Nick doesn't like young country. He's against bro country.
Is he?
Yeah. All right.
I don't think he's bro country.
He is yes. Nick, are you against bro country?
No, I don't think Zach Bryan's bro country.
Who's bro country?
I think of that as like Florida Georgia line, like Luke Bryan.
Luke Bryan's
I feel like that's a dying genre.
Or what is this new Morgan Wallen pop country thing?
Maybe it's pop country. I don't think
We just gave it a name.
Yeah.
Pop country. All right, we were continuing through A&M schedule.
Are you back on?
Yeah, this is a whole segment thing. Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you told me because I could have been like cursing or.
Yeah, but we wouldn't have been able to go back and forth with Nick.
He was on that whole time.
That entire time, yeah. This is a segment, yeah.
That was risky. That was super risky.
Dump button Carson. All right, so Mississippi State, I think we've finished that. So we move on to Florida.
What is there to say? Worse? I mean, look, A&M's played UTSA that just lost to Texas State. And that didn't shock me. I thought UTSA would win that game, but that was going to be a good game, and that's a pretty fairly even. I mean, G.J. Kinney is like just a couple steps behind Jeff Traylor and them in terms of what he's building there. And I don't think he'll be there as long as Traylor and them have been at UTSA anyway. But A&M's played UTSA and Utah State. So I'm not going to sit here and watch a team that played a real opponent, which South Florida is. South Florida would choke out Utah State. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're going to play UTSA. So we'll find that out later. But, I mean, as I'm sitting here today, man, Florida looks a lot worse. And it's not even that they look – yeah, they do play them. Okay, so we'll see that one. And South Florida's rolling right now. I think they got a chance to beat Miami. But it's not that I would have thought Florida's offense, based on what I was sold and I would have thought they would look better, and they don't. And the first time they got hit in the mouth, they folded. And Lagway couldn't you'd think that maybe he could will them to a win. Got a great receiver, running back. They've got a first-round O-lineman. It looks bad. My biggest thing with teams like this year, like Florida, like Arkansas, like Auburn, who we're higher on right now, my thing with teams like that is you want what my old coach used to say. I always thought it was just a silly, like Texas ball coach saying. You want them to get their dauber down, whatever that means. I don't even know what that means. Somebody please look that up. Can you look up? I don't even know how to spell it.
Dauber, D-A-B-B-E-R.
Is that how it's spelled?
I just made that up.
It could be D-A-U. It could be, I don't even know because it's probably not even a real word. It is, but so my thing is, I want Auburn to lose to OU the week before they play A&M while the Aggies are sitting on a bye. I want Arkansas to drop a couple before they play A&M to where people are like, okay, it's probably the end of the road for Pittman. And I want Florida to be the same. They're going to be. because they ain't going into Baton Rouge and winning this weekend, and it's over in their minds. Like early in the season, no Florida fan is going to care about their trip to College Station. Probably 50% of them are going to want them to lose so they can just further this thing to being done. And that's where I want to see some of these teams get to. And that A&M is going to play because their schedule's tough enough. But yeah, Florida, they're in it.
But if they go to LSU and win,
they're not going to. I mean, now that I said that, you'll have a good clip. Okay, they're not going to. And if they do, I'll be damn happy about that too. Because then all the Baton Rouge Yelp patrol can be quiet.
So then Arkansas, they haven't played anybody for me to have an opinion.
Arkansas, Tennessee, Ole Miss, right? And A&M only plays one of those. I'm watching it. I think Tennessee, I'm kind of buying in a little bit. Maybe I shouldn't. Syracuse struggled, but didn't they just barely beat UConn a week later? But I'm kind of looking at Tennessee. I'm buying these deep passing game, and I'm in on that. Ole Miss, I said it before the year. I thought they're overrated. I thought Austin Simmons.
He's got 4 picks on the year, right?
He's got 4 picks against 2 dogs, including Kentucky. And Kentucky should have beaten them.
And he got hurt.
Mark Stoops, that was coaching malpractice in Lexington. The people are pissed off over there. They should have won that game, and they jumped out on them, and they couldn't pull it off. And he came off that game and didn't come back in. I don't think he came back in.
He did not come back in.
And he was limping pretty significantly. So I'll be interested to see how that goes because they play Arkansas this weekend. Now, Arkansas is a funny one, right? Didn't we go through this crap last year?
We did.
With Taylor Green and our crew in the back that seems to want to will them to beat us. They like Taylor Green so much. And SEC Mike and all the SEC talking heads were like, Taylor Green. And look at his numbers at Boise. And look what they're doing. Bobby Petrino, Taylor Green. Bobby Petrino, Taylor Green. Green, Petrino, Green.
It's a good song.
And what happened? And they're doing it again.
A&M neutralized
and
them.
they're doing it again this year. And our boy, I saw John Neighbors today, has the A&M game as a win for Arkansas. He's got win, winnable, losable, loss. He's got A&M moved into the win bucket. So they are.
But you know what's interesting?
We know going to Fayetteville is going to be a tough game. And I also know Taylor Green's a good quarterback. But they did this crap last year. They're playing, when I say nobodies, some teams are built to destroy and throttle nobody.
But let me tell you,
Tennessee is one. Arkansas is one. When they're just going to air it out and go, hit big plays.
Here's the
not
difference.
Work on stuff like
A&M is 2-0, and people, our fan base is poking holes in the 2-0 and seeing reasons why A&M could lose these games.
Yeah.
Arkansas is 2-0, and now they're like, oh, we're going to beat A&M. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Forgetting that they still have Ole Miss, Memphis, and Notre Dame on their schedule before the A&M game.
Wow. I'll say this. I'm not buying what they're doing to bad teams, but I'm buying it. I'm buying that I don't think Ole Miss is that good, and Simmons is hurt.
Yep.
I'm buying that it's still Memphis, right? And Notre Dame, for all we're going to talk about the Irish this week, they're not we're worried because A&M hadn't won a road game against a ranked team in the non-conference outside of bowl games for as long as we can remember. We're worried because we've seen this story a million times before. We're worried because we're wondering about A&M's run defense, and we saw what Notre Dame was able to do to it last year. But the reality is, this is not a football team that should be on an entirely different level than Texas A&M. This is not the Aggies going into Athens a few years ago. This is not A&M playing number 1 Alabama on the road. This is not A&M going into the Horseshoe this weekend. This is not the Aggies going to play 2019 LSU or 97 Nebraska or 2004 Oklahoma or 05 Texas and Vince Young. It's not. This is a team that A&M was tied with last year with 2 minutes left in the game. This is a team that A&M was 6-6 at halftime, 13-13 with 2 minutes left. This is a team that a year ago at this time lost to Northern Illinois with Riley Leonard as their quarterback. This is not. I know they played for the national title last year. They beat Georgia with Gunnar Stockton and not Carson Beck, and then they double overtime Penn State. This is not a juggernaut that they're going into. So just like I say A&M going into Arkansas is a real challenge, I will say the same about Notre Dame going into Fayetteville.
Right.
And I might contend that the folks in Fayetteville might be more fired up for Notre Dame, because when's the last time a non-conference team like that, of that stature, because there's only a handful of them, has gone into that stadium? So, yeah, Arkansas is a team that I'm not buying what they've done against bad teams, but I also think that schedule and those names you just said, they're not 10 out of 10 daunting.
Right.
They're, as a collective three, they're like 7 out of 10.
LSU, I think, is an interesting one, Billy, because what we don't know about Clemson, or what we think we know about Clemson, I do think skews.
I do think that too.
Does skew the way I look at LSU based on what they did this past weekend. Now I'm thinking to myself, what Clemson did this past weekend. Is LSU really as good as we think, or is maybe Clemson not that team, and maybe LSU still got a lot more to prove?
Absolutely. On LSU. They're not as good as people think. Remember, Clemson missed a field goal, I think, to go up 13-3 on them. Could have been a completely different game. And LSU took control in the second half. But, again, there was so much talking coming out of Baton Rouge that they convinced everyone, because you're the idiot if you don't buy it, because everyone else is buying it on what they were able to do in the portal. And I think there's the reality is somewhere in between. Like I think they made a significant defensive improvement. I think Nussmeier is really damn good. He's still thrown a couple picks in a couple games, one against La Tech. And I don't think he's necessarily like lit it up through 2 games. LSU looks like an improved football team. And if you look at their schedule, and you go, well, they get A&M at home where the Aggies haven't won. And then you start looking at some of these games that look pretty tough, and you go, well, how tough? I think Alabama has gotten a lot less tough. I think Ole Miss has gotten a lot less tough. Florida, like all of a sudden, 3 of their
tough games,
quote unquote tough games. Now, OU's gotten tougher. And I think they have to go to Norman. So that one, I think, got exponentially tougher. But if I'm LSU, I take that trade-off. So that, and I think Vandy, they got to go to Vandy this year too. They've got some tricky ones, but I think LSU looks better. But everyone wanted to make them, every time LSU does a damn thing, the national media and the SEC media want to make them out to be world beaters. Every time. Once since A&M joined the SEC, they were right. Once in 14 years, they were right. Once in 13, this is year 14, they were right.
I'm starting to believe that Missouri's better than I thought they were going to be. And I don't know if I want to read too much into the Kansas game, but 2 guys rushing for 100 yards. Bo Prabula has been pretty darn good to start. Mm-hmm. They've got the receivers. Mm-hmm. I think Drink is a really good coach. They have a very easy, manageable schedule. Yeah, they might be better than I thought, though.
I would agree with that. If we're putting the all these other teams under such a microscope and saying they look better, I would say Missouri. Yeah, they look better. I heard some interesting stuff out of there leading up to the season in terms of expectations. Like in Columbia, like maybe it'll be interesting. I mean, Kansas made some big plays on them. Mm-hmm. I think Jalen Daniels good. They're still playing Kansas, so right. But when I watch, they look fast. Missouri skill guys look fast, and I think they look better than I thought. Prabula looks.
He looks good.
He looks good through 2 games.
Ahmad Hardy looks really good. The running back.
Yeah, I think they look dangerous.
Marquise Johnson is a nice wide receiver. We'll see. They're better than I thought.
I agree. I think that game looks tougher.
Yep.
Mississippi State looks tougher. Arkansas might look tougher, but it's just too. I'm not doing that. That was already a tough one for me. There's nothing easy on the A&M schedule. Well, besides Samford, from here on out, there's actually nothing. Who are the worst 2 teams? It's Arkansas and Mississippi State. And you got to go to Fayetteville. Mississippi State just beat number 12. So there's nothing left easy. So if you're A&M, you go and lay an egg this weekend in front of Touchdown Jesus, we're not going to feel good at all about where the season, and there's still a lot of season to play, but you're not going to feel good about it, nor should you. If they go out there and lose a close game, you're going to be frustrated because you're going to be like, you let one get away and you need it when you look at the upcoming schedule. If you go win one, it doesn't guarantee you anything in an 8-game SEC, but we would feel so much different when we're talking about these games.
Yes, we would.
When you go, man, they got to go to Fayetteville and they got to go to, Missouri, but you're like,
you've already managed
went into South Bend and won.
Yeah.
And they should only continue to get better. And when you start going, man, Florida and Auburn and South Carolina, and you're going, are those teams any better than Notre Dame?
By the way,
the answer is no.
My opinion on South Carolina is they are who I thought they were going to be. Yeah. I wasn't as high on them as the national media was. I think they're good. And I think
they're a top 20 team, not a top 10. That's what I think about South Carolina.
Yeah, and then Texas, I still think they're a TBD.
I think they're what I thought, which is a work in progress on offense because they lost a ton.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked them to go 10-2, and I think their schedule. You look at theirs, and on the road at Mississippi State got a lot tougher. Vandy, I think, is a little better than I thought they'd be early on. Oklahoma, I think,
it's better.
Got a lot tougher than what I expected we'd see for them. I think their schedule's looking more difficult. Georgia's not as good as I think Georgia might lose to Tennessee this week. I think they are going to lose in Knoxville.
Consider a break. We'll come back with more.
Sorry, Mark.
Daily Company, they're family owned, and they offer HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and generator services available to you 24/7. HVAC, thermostat repairs, refrigerant leaks, furnace failures, and seasonal tune-ups. Plumbing, leak repairs, clogged drains, water heater installation and maintenance to keep those pipes in top shape. Electrical, they've got the wiring, the outlet repairs, the upgrades for safety and efficiency, and generators, repair, maintenance, and installation to ensure preparedness for power outages. They serve College Station, Bryan, Houston, and Austin. Upfront pricing with no surprises. Contact the Daily Company now at 979-260-2020. That's 979-260-2020. Or visit them online at godaily.com to experience the daily difference. Billy, if I
David,
hello, let's talk like this.
truly a child.
Kermit the Triple Frog. If I gave you Marcel Reed's stats and gave you just a different quarterback's name, do you think there would be more buzz?
Depends on where he plays.
Good point. If he played it,
Here, you can give him whatever name you want.
right?
But listen, this is just, it's so, I think he was, can I say I thought he was under talked about this offseason without trying to say he was the greatest thing ever and had nothing to prove? Because that's how I felt. Like, I felt like people should talk about him more in relation to what they're saying about other quarterbacks. A really screaming example would have been Austin Simmons. Another screaming example would be Taylon Green. I watched him outplay Taylon Green in his second career start. Another screaming example with lights all over it would have been DJ Lagway. I get the hype that comes with, and I get the top end highlight, but I don't. Because if you put together a 5-minute highlight reel of Marcel last year, it would be up there with his, with what he did. So, yeah, I think Marcel, without saying, hey, why wasn't he on every Heisman list? Why wasn't he second team all SEC? I'm not saying that. But I'm saying they didn't talk about him enough this offseason in that group of quarterbacks that somebody's going to break out. And he hasn't yet. He has checked the box in 2 games. He has looked terrific against teams I needed to see him look terrific against. And he hasn't been perfect, but he's been damn good.
Yeah.
And we're not grading quarterbacks at perfection. You're just not. Not even against these type teams because, again, Sellers is still way up there on everyone's Heisman list. How has he looked through 2 games? I mean, I'm watching Marcel make some, people will nitpick this guy like they do.
Is that
he has
because
made some
Aggies?
sense? I don't think it's exclusive to Aggies, and I think Aggies on a level have a right to kind of be skeptical. We were just talking about this during the break. You have a right to be skeptical because of the recent quarterback history. Whether it's I know I was when Marcel was laying there on the ground. I was just so frustrated because I'm not at him, but just
here we
my
go.
God, you can't even get through 2 games. This is just it doesn't even seem look at every team that you've wished A&M had over the years. And imagine if Joe Burrow went down early in the season. Imagine if Riley Leonard went down early last season. What does that mean for Notre Dame? Think they're playing for a national title? Imagine if
Lenore Sellers.
Lenore Sellers, and he did, and he did, and they played really poorly, and he was hurt, and then he was kind of trying to come back, and then they got the bye week, and he was 100% against A&M. You saw what it was. He did get hurt, so but to have that happen every year,
an extended period,
to every quarterback. I mean, you see Arch Manning this year. Imagine the Longhorns that thought he should have played all year last year. Again, but they're smarter than you. And they're smarter than me because they know everything.
They know ball.
They know ball over there. I mean, don't dare tell them that they'll kind of get that little smirk like they know. You were the same jackasses clamoring for Arch over Quinn last year. They would have probably, and that doesn't mean he's going to go 8-4 this year. But last year they would have. He wasn't ready. But those people thought he was. But if Quinn would have been out an extended period, he was out the year before. Yeah, go tell me who Malik Murphy played against. And if he'd had to finish the season, what do you think Texas's record would have been 2 years ago? And do you think they'd be in the college football playoff? The answer is not no, but hell no. They wouldn't have won the Big 12. They took an official, I think it took an official's call for them to beat U of H that year, I think, with Malik Murphy. So imagine every time you have a new quarterback that happens, or a returning starter. That's what we've lived through. So I get the skepticism, but there's also, I said it the other day, I love the crowd chanting Marcel's name. I love people getting behind him. You got a really good quarterback that's getting better. That's a simple way to put it. And 8 touchdowns, no turnovers. We mentioned Nussmeier threw a pick against La Tech. We mentioned Sellers. He's thrown picks, against lesser teams in the first, last. Who else did I see? Klubnik. We talk about how he's playing.
Yeah. Arch threw a pick.
Arch threw a pick against San Jose State. Like, those things happen. I think, did Mateer have a pick in their opener against? I think he may have.
I think he had one.
I mean, it's not even like a bad. You're taking chances. There's tip balls. You're trying to make throw. But when you don't do that, it's really impressive. And I've just watched the way he's played and that answer in the third quarter in a tight situation against UTSA that was unexpected. And just in this game, the way the 2-minute drill before halftime and punching that, these little things, but damn, he's made some really nice throws too. Both games, like really, really nice passes. We were talking about how he threaded the needle several times in the opener against UTSA. Coupled that second, or was the second touchdown?
The KC touchdown and the Terry Bussey opening touchdown.
Bussey, and by the way, what a route by Bussey.
Yeah.
I mean, just, you go watch that cut on that double, that was nasty. It was, and I said the other day, I think Terry Bussey quietly had himself a great game, especially if you would have counted the first kick return. He's got real feel.
Yeah.
For just, he can read the speed of the game. He's not the fastest guy. He's not as fast as Craver. Obviously, he's not as fast as Bethel Roman, but he has a feel for speed of game and can kind of navigate it and speed up at the right time. He just, I think Bussey has been very underrated, and a lot of it had to do with some just absolutely preposterous. If I'm Elko, I might just say, you guys can't, you can't film in practice. Like, you're not going to film when we're jogging and walking through stuff and warming up, because it just almost feels like some of it's just meant to be out there as rage bait. And what people did with a clip of Bussey that was actually a normal clip, it wasn't somebody trying, but people took that and just
ran with it.
And I don't care what other fans, I'm talking about A&M fans. I'm talking about A&M fans. And I've got one that I deal with regularly. I've stopped replying to him. He's a good friend, but it's over the top. It's just the most annoying thing I've ever seen. The text I got yesterday was something along the lines of, Bussey's our best safety we have on campus. You've never seen him play safety. Like, the guy just had a really good game handling the football. And instead of just saying, okay, maybe I was wrong about him, he had, I'm optimistic now, you go that route. People like that, I just don't have time for. They don't even get a reply. But Terry Bussey, I thought, had a nice game. This receiving core just starting to look better and better. But Marcel has, with those guys, he has made some really nice throws. The Bussey one we talked about. Hey, he had from my vantage point anyway, and I'm about to go rewatch the game again, but a great throw over there in the corner to Amari Nyblack early in that game. Yeah. Marcel's had some dimes, and the one to throw that one to Concepcion and drop it into the bucket like that on the move, that was like just a 10 out of 10 exceptional touchdown pass. It really was. And so I think he is playing outstanding ball. And now the cool thing is the throw of the day, it was either that one to Concepcion or Miles O'Neill.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Basically just handing that ball to Casey Concepcion.
And Miles needed that throw. After he needed it after
about 50 yards down the field. I mean, what a beautiful pass. It's one of the better deep balls I've seen. Reed had that one last year to Noah Thomas. These guys can get behind the defense, and I know it's Utah State, but they will do that to other teams this year, like good SEC teams. Guys will get behind them. You have to make those throws. If Blake Shapen can do it, then your quarterback better do it. And that's not a knock on Shapen, but Shapen's a guy that was under-recruited, went to Baylor. Now he's at Mississippi State. This is not a kid that goes from Julian Sayin as a 5-star that goes to Alabama, then Ohio State. Okay? Shapen can make that throw regularly. Marcel Reed needs to as well. So because like Brennan Thompson down there in Starkville, who actually replaced Craver, so it's really interesting to see both of them doing so well. Craver, Bethel Roman, Bussy, even though he's not as fast as those guys in Concepcion, they can get behind a defense. And Marcel's got to consistently hit them, because if he does, back on up, safeties, back on up. This ain't the same A&M you played last year. And then watch what that does for the running game. And then watch how many times you see Le'Veon Moss in the second level of a defense. And you know what that means. Because you didn't just see it against Utah State. You saw it against Arkansas. You saw it against, you didn't see it against South Carolina, unfortunately. You saw it against, Missouri. You saw it against LSU. You know what that looks like when he gets in the second level. And if those safeties have to play back, there's going to be a lot of guys getting run past.
All right, let's continue down that path here when we come back. Right now, excuse me, if you're looking for real peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary, gosh bless, serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment management. What really sets them apart is the over 9 CFPs, the CFA, the CPA on staff. These folks take credentials seriously, and they work tirelessly to help you build your future that you can feel good about. Go to paragon-adv.com to give them a call at 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors. Integrity, expertise, trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. So what was the sentence your coach would say? Put your dauber down?
Yeah.
All right, we've got a couple people who know that term. Okay. John in Cyprus, it's when your head's down and your bobber's down. So they say, what's got your dauber down? As in, what's got your bobber down? Could be the fish, the turtle, the log.
So they say bobber?
Dauber and bobber, according to John in
dauber
Cyprus.
is the fishing thing.
Okay. And then...
So your head's bobbing like a dauber. I got it.
And then we got another one.
So it basically saying is a fish pulling your head down? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Stormy says dauber, it's like ink pen. You're going to make a mark. So basically, nobody agrees.
That one doesn't make as much sense as the first one.
Nobody agrees.
No, I think the first one is what I think it is. Did you say they were getting heated in the chat or getting fired up earlier?
So a lot of people were getting fired up about some 8-4 comments and saying that 8-4 could potentially be a third seat in the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect it. I just think there's everybody's playing each other. There's going to be for example, if you think there's going to be a glut of 8-4 teams, the team that could rise out of that might be a Missouri with such a pedestrian / easy as hell schedule. So I do think there'll be at least 3 SEC teams at 9-3 or better, but I do think this is the season where there's going to be multiple SEC teams at 9-3 that are that essentially are fighting each other for a playoff
Yeah,
spot.
I agree with that.
I think it's going to come down to that.
And we've talked about this before. It could have happened last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it happened the year before. But a 9-3 team, do you think there's a world where there's 2 9-3 teams in the SEC championship game?
Yeah, there's a world. And going along with what they said, I don't agree with an 8-4 being as high as third, but I do think you could see 2 9-3s in it. I mean, well, I think for that to have happened, though, it would have involved LSU losing to Clemson. Texas could get in there at 9-3 because they'd be 6-2 in the SEC. A&M would have gotten in last year at 9-3, 6-2.
The SEC.
I think for an SEC team to get into it with 3 losses, I still believe they'd have to have it would have to be like a Bama that lost to Florida State, then went 6-2. So who fits that criteria? It's Bama. I think that's, to me, it could be an A&M if they lost to Notre Dame. It's hard to sit here today, and if we were sitting here a week from now talking about a loss to Notre Dame, we wouldn't feel good about going, damn, they can get to 9-3. None of us would. We'd be down. We'd have our dauber down. But they almost did it last year. They tackle, like I say a million times, tackle Peyton Thorne. You're in the SEC title game after losing to Notre Dame and going 6-2 in conference. So maybe a South Carolina if they lost to Clemson. But I don't know who else in the SEC could possibly lose. Maybe Georgia losing to Georgia Tech, but I doubt they do that. I don't know who in the SEC loses a non-conference game and goes, because 5-3 in the conference, I don't think is getting you to Atlanta. So it would have had to have been LSU. So Texas and Alabama, to me, are the only true contenders to do that there that are good enough that I think they could do it and suffered a lot. Maybe a South Carolina if they lost to Clemson. Not Florida losing to South Florida. Maybe.
Unless South Florida this weekend does the improbable. 3 straight ranked wins.
Hey, it's improbable. It's not impossible for sure. But I still think Florida, I watch them and I'm I don't see them getting through the SEC with 2 conference losses. I just don't. I don't see them getting. Folks in Gainesville don't know if they'll see them get 2 conference wins. I think they're better than that, but I don't. They're out of my discussion for Atlanta.
You don't
already.
see them. Do you see them winning a game before they get here to College Station?
They got LSU. Who else?
LSU. Show me that schedule again, Nick. Miami and Texas, I believe, if I remember that correctly.
Then no.
They will be in their 4-game losing streak.
Here, there you go. There it is. Oh,
there we go.
There you go.
LSU, Miami, Texas, then A&M.
Yeah, they're going to come in here at 1-4. And I don't like that. 4 straight losses, 1-4. It's almost like then it becomes a game you have to win against a really talented team. But where are they at mentally if they come in there? Pull up Arkansas's schedule. I'm interested in that one. What's their run up to A&M?
Arkansas's got Ole Miss, Memphis, hosting Notre Dame, at Tennessee.
Okay, so Arkansas's got a rough road before they play A&M. Pull up Mississippi State.
Make it.
What are they looking at?
They might just be coming off their first loss against Tennessee.
And that game's at Tennessee?
No, they're hosting Tennessee.
Dude, I'll tell you what. That Mississippi State team's probably coming in here ranked.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Unless Tennessee blows the doors off of them.
I don't think they will. I don't think Tennessee's – I think they're better than I thought, but I don't think they're good enough. What I saw from Mississippi State is they're physical on defense, and they got a solid to good quarterback, and they've got a lot of speed at the skill spot. I think Mississippi State's a legitimately, like, not overdo. Again, I think Arizona State, they're a Big 12, they're a Pac-12 team masquerading as in the new Big 12, which is the Pac-12, minus USC. Like, they're not even the Pac-12. They don't have USC and Oregon. The Big 12 sucks. And they had their chance this weekend to change that narrative. You know, and Colorado lost last week to Georgia Tech despite, you know, a couple early turnovers. They tried to gift wrap it to them. Kansas going down the way they did. Kansas State losing to Army. Arizona State going and losing to a 2-10 team from last season. Like, that's a bad weekend. Kansas losing to Mizzou. Iowa State's the only team kind of carrying that banner right now. Utah beat UCLA, but I mean, so did UNLV, right? Like, what are we? So, I don't know what Utah's really proven yet, but who's going to end up being good out of there? I mean, what, BYU?
No.
And what, they beat Stanford? Stanford stinks. So, the Big 12 it's pretty rancid. TCU beat North Carolina. I think North Carolina is going to, I don't know who they play in non-conference. They might not win an ACC game. So, anything the Big 12's done has come against trash.
By the way,
TCU and Tech and Baylor and Iowa State, those to me are the four that will contend for that. Maybe one of them comes out of it looking like where you're going, oh, they're legitimately good. But I don't think it's more than that.
The whole Belichick not letting the Patriots scout in thing.
That dude's just
stupid.
Like, just stop coaching if you're going to do that. That guy doesn't deserve to coach college football. Your ego is not bigger than the future of kids. And your tired ass needs to step down.
100% agree.
And if I worked at North Carolina, I'd go in there because who the hell's scared of an 80-year-old guy going through I'm not going to, whatever, anybody in their life decisions, whatever. But it's not your life decision when the girl's on the sideline, she's sitting there in the spring game on the field, she's sitting in the background of interviews. That goes beyond like, hey,
she's there on the first game.
If I want to like a girl that's however many years younger than me, it's his life. He's whatever. He's looking back going like, hey, man, he's like, I'm old. I lived like a monk for how long, whatever it was he did. You don't know. But you've brought that into the workplace. You've brought that into your job. It's affecting people that work there, clearly. It's affecting, I would think, if I was his boss, your ability to do your job and win, which is what we're paying you to do. And you're also in charge of those kids and their futures. And when things like this come out, it only hurts you recruiting, because who the hell would want to send their son to play for a guy that purposefully keeps scouts out? And I'm sure he's got some answer along the lines of it doesn't matter. They'll see you. That is your own ego that you're putting ahead of your players and their potential futures. So that in and of itself, I'm walking down to his office if I'm an AD and I'm saying, hey,
that can't happen.
You can do a lot of things, but you're going to listen to me right now, and that's going to stop today. So you don't have to say anything about it. You don't have to go and apologize or anything, but that changes today. And if I hear anything of it, I'm going to fire your ass. Period. So they won't do that, though. Clearly they won't, because North Carolina only to hire Mac Brown and Belichick back to back is just, imagine that being your team that you cover or you're a fan of. It's insane.
Milliken Reserve time, pharmaceutical community. Yeah, I think Bill Belichick would like to walk around in his hoodie there. They've got homes, they got trails, they got farms, they got wide open spaces with a mission to build a healthy community around nature. 2,600 acres of open space, 30 miles of trails. They've got the beautiful homes there, and they want to connect families to nature and to each other. All the animals you can imagine live there, the white-tailed deer, the songbirds, the rabbits, the turtles, and homeowners at Milliken Reserve sharing a legacy of conservation, which means generation after generation, you're coming back to that pristine countryside place. It's a place that provides a natural setting for people to connect, where you can go hiking, biking, canoeing. You got the kayaking there, you got the equestrian trails, the evening yoga. You can learn more at millikenreserve.com. That website again is millikenreserve.com. What is your favorite Zach Bryan song? Something in the Orange.
I don't know. I remember everything. I don't know. I don't know the name of it. The one, take me to a place that's a little road that's a little bit winding. That one.
Oh,
where they still put sugar in their iced tea. Hey Driver, maybe. I like that. Yeah, that puts me in a good mood.
Oklahoma Smoke Show.
That's a really good one. I mean, I'm not like a diehard, but he puts on an awesome concert when he plays something in the Orange, and yeah, I like it. I like his music. People kind of make fun of his music. They make fun of like him and Morgan Wallen's music. Like they go, "Oh, it all sounds the same." I don't care if it sounds the same if I like the sound of it.
Every artist sounds the same.
When I like an artist and they start trying to change it up too much and like reinvent themselves, that's when I don't like. Like, no, I liked this. So yeah, like I used to like Aerosmith.
And then you didn't.
I do. Like, I don't think they try to completely ever like change their sound up. I mean, I know you changed some from like the 70s to the 90s, but like, yeah, don't go like changing who you are. Don't go changing. See, like Billy Joel didn't change it up ever. Well, yeah, he did. He did. He started dating freaking Christy Brinkley, married her, and then doing this Uptown Girl crap and, for the longest time.
That's it. That's all we have time for. Louis next. Bye.